I just got a boat. Don't you just love that when the universe just like lines everything up in the most magical way? I feel like I'm really getting good at this receiving. That's kind of been what I've been trying to work on for the past 10 years instead of forcing my way like I did on my boat before. You know, I bought my boat at 22. I tried so hard to make it what I wanted instead of letting go and allowing it to naturally unfold. So that's what I've been working on, and oh my God, things are naturally unfolding. If you've been following me for a little while, you'll know who Lady Rebecca is. Oh, if you've read my book. So yeah, I wanted to give you the backstory by reading you the little bit where Lady Rebecca is in my book. So let's go down and check out Lady Rebecca. There she is. Keep in mind, she's in a sorry state at the moment. I fell in love with her when I first met her. She looks a sorry state now. I mean, look at this. She was so loved in her day, and she will be again. Here's my book, Adventures of a Pirate Girl, Hitchhiking the High Seas. And right at the end, that's chapter 13, when I first get to Waiheke Island, after the Vipassana course, Waiheke Island, and then the party. Okay, I came over for the weekend, waiting for my camera to be fixed. And then I was gonna fly home from Auckland. I had sailed halfway around the world from the east coast of the States. I left from Beaufort, that's right, North Carolina, and through the Caribbean across the Pacific, and landed here on Waiheke Island. And the second day I got here, this is a freaking awesome party. The salty smell of silt and marsh mixed with the wafting marijuana smoke and warm spring sunshine. There were maybe 60 people there, some longtime residents, some visitors. Spanish and French could be heard as often as English, and the vibe was one of welcoming celebration. After making a scene on the dance floor with the few guys who really knew how to salsa, I wandered around behind a ramshackle boat shed near the water's edge to concentrate on my breathing for a minute and ground myself. There, tied up between 4 poles, was a little sailboat. Her wooden trim was painted the same deep red I had painted the trim on my boat. And though weathered, she was a darling. She was in need of some major TLC. Not nearly as much as she's in need of it now. That was 12 years ago. And though it's taboo to get on someone else's boat uninvited, I figured she must belong to the guy whose party this was, and he wouldn't mind. I gingerly stepped aboard and gently slid open the hatch above the companionway. Now I was really dreaming. She was small, but perfectly organized. During the years that I had worked on rebuilding my boat, this was the interior that I had fantasized about. It tickled the dormant princess in me, and I, in that moment, fell in love. Okay, so that's when I first met her. So the next day I followed up and I asked the guy whose party it was who was taking care of her. And he told me that it was a lesbian couple that owned her, and they had more money than God, and they didn't even live in New Zealand, and they would never sell her to me. And I was like, oh, I don't want them to sell her to me. I want them to give her to me. Now, I did write a few letters to them, but never got sent. And, you know, I don't know, 4 months later I was pregnant, and my life took a very different turn. I'm going to just read you the epilogue. And they all live happily ever after. Just kidding. You must know by now that happily ever after is a lie. After getting pregnant with someone I hardly knew in a foreign country, there were stormy seas as far as the eye could see. But luckily, I'm a good navigator. I just kept steering towards the light. And after some years, the seas calmed. And they've been continuing to calm. Well, the last few years have been pretty rocky. But that's pushing me. Sometimes the rocky hard bits are the parts that make you change. 5 years later, I met Frida, a fellow single mom, at the Steiner Kindy Harvest Fair. She and I had an instant connection that made me think we must have known each other in a past life. A year down the line, our kids were playing happily on the trampoline as Frida elaborated on the ongoing saga of her mother, who was just ending a long-term relationship with a woman. So my mom has this boat. Can you help me move her? And all of a sudden, the floating bits of information clicked together in my mind like a puzzle. Tick, 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 tick. And I knew. Hurriedly, I opened my computer and found the file from my first days on the island 7 years before. Is this the boat? Lady Rebecca? I asked. How do you have pictures of my mom's boat? I helped Frida move Lady Rebecca, and I did some work on her. A year later, after attempts to sell her had come to naught, Frida got fed up and said to me, Davina, you have her. I think Lady Rebecca should belong to you. So, that happened. And I wrote that in the end of my book because it was so serendipitous, but I actually didn't take her at that time. My life was already full and that just felt overwhelming to me. So no, I didn't take her. So here she's about to sell her again. And I go to help the girl who might help sell her, just to give her a pep talk about her and teach her about Lady Rebecca because I've got history with her. Anyway, I come on the boat and I start checking her out. And I was actually just about to buy a bus, right? I was about to buy a bus. So Frida has just given me this boat. Pirate Girl is going to start doing charters in the spring. She actually doesn't need that much work. She needs a little THC. She needs a little TLC, I meant to say. Thank you, universe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Pirate Girl's got a boat. So, you know, for me, this really shows me, and, you know, I believe that we create our reality. I believe that it's all vibration, and that if we align our vibration with what we want. And for me, it's really been about letting go, about dreaming a lot, but not holding tight, just dreaming, you know? The universe is a magical place, and I know that the story we've had for a long time is that it's all meaningless and stuff, and it's easy to feel that way, and especially after all the bullshit. I mean, walking around like this all the fucking time, you know, I mean, it's easy to be really depressed, but I tell you what, life is magic. This is Pirate Girl. Dude, this is gonna be an epic story. Follow me on this adventure. Hey, Badge, you muddy girl.